Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dan, the voice behind ThatKaitoDan, and welcome to my review for RWBY Volume 3's finale. First things first though, I actually recorded a live reaction to the episode itself, so if you want to see this goofball's reactions to everything that went down, check out the link in the description down below. But yes, we're at the end, and things have been pretty bad for our heroes. Cinder has gained the full maiden power and left to face off with Ozpin. The Dragon Grim is causing more issues, and Yang and Blake have come off bad from their clash with Adam. The second half of this volume has not been soft with its punches, but did it lose momentum at the climax, or was it able to deal a knockout end in this bumper of an episode? Obviously, I don't need to warn you not to continue watching if you haven't seen the episode, right? Because now let's kick off looking into the final Volume 3 episode, End of the Beginning. We open back in the Dark Vault, where last we left off, with flashing signs of battle sparking up across the room, between Full Maiden Cinder going up against Ozpin, who's looking mighty skilled in his first time shown in combat. He may be wielding a cane, but he's able to match Cinder in terms of power and speed, pulling off some really slick evasive moves. But that's all we see of this fight, as a beam struggle between the two forms a flash that moves us over towards Beacon, where Oobleck and Port are shown to having survived from their run-in with the Griffin Grimm. They're managing the evacuations as RWBY finally reunites with the others, though the look on her face says enough. Ren and Nora can barely stand, Blake's nursing a stab wound, and Yang is out cold after losing her arm. It's clear to see that Blake is blaming herself for what happened to her partner, and to make matters worse, Jean and Pyrrha aren't around, and the Grimm are still present, though the White Fang have long gone. So RWBY and Weiss leave Sun to watch over everyone while they go and look for their friends. Cutting out to said missing pair of Jean and Pyrrha, who've made it out of the tower away from Cinder, and Jean wants to know what the hell's going on. But when they hear Cinder firing her way up to the top, Pyrrha makes a choice. She wants to go back in and try to stop her, even though it's basically a suicide mission as Jean points out the risks. It's that danger that finally pushes Pyrrha to do something long in the making, silencing Jean's words with a kiss, much to many an Arcos fan's joy. But sadly, that joy is short-lived, as an apologetic Pyrrha sends Jean into a locker and forces his exit as she follows Cinder's tracks up to the tower's peak. Jean instantly contacts Weiss to get her and RWBY to save Pyrrha, breaking down at his own failed attempts. But before the White Rose pair can attempt as such, the dragon drops in once again and drops in some more Grimm to slow them down as it heads up towards Cinder, who actually seems to speak with the beast, calling this place its new home, adding to speculation that Cinder has some sense of control in the Grimm some way. The chatter is stalled though when Pyrrha crashes in and taking it right to the supercharged Cinder. And give Pyrrha credit, even with that power against her and the various strong flames flying her way, she holds her own and looks desperate to end Cinder's reign of terror, even looking to slice her up with her sword. But try as she might, her attempts fall flat as the dragon and Cinder's power destroy the room and break Pyrrha's weapon. Tired but still determined, Miss Nico's opts for using the remaining gears as weapons, though that gets brushed aside too, and eventually her aura is depleted. On the ground, RWBY notes that they're wasting time here, so Weiss sends RWBY up to the tower via her glyphs. But Pyrrha's in a bad state, and like her inspiration, catches an arrow to the Achilles tendon, leaving Cinder time to gloat, and as RWBY makes it to the top, she's too late to stop a point-blank arrow straight to Pyrrha's chest, and Pyrrha's fate is sealed as she's disintegrated right in front of RWBY's eyes. As much as it hurts to say, since she's actually one of my favorite characters, Pyrrha Nikos is no more. It's with this latest tragedy and loss of a friend though, where RWBY straight up snaps, as suddenly a giant burst of white energy shoots out from her eyes, consuming a shocked Cinder, the dragon, and everything else in its light. In this blur, we hear Crow recovering RWBY, and speaking to a notable voice about the lack of communications now that there's no CCT that's working, as well as the fact that Ozpin is apparently missing. We're then shown Ruby waking up only to find herself back home in Patch, and in the comfort of her father, the now 3D Taiyang Xiaolong, played by actor, producer, and amongst other things, co-creator of Rooster Teeth itself, Mr. Bernie Burns. Taiyang is relieved to see his youngest daughter awake at last, though when discussing how Yang is doing, you can tell he's not confident in his comments saying that she'll push through. As for the aftermath of what went down in Beacon, well, while Vale is okay and recovering as much as it can, Beacon is pretty much lost to the Grim, being drawn there by the dragon. It's still alive, but it's left in a frozen state at the top of the tower, and unless her maiden powers protected her, I'm imagining that Cinder is right there alongside her, though I'm kind of betting that she isn't. Ruby though can't get any answers about what she did from a hesitant Taiyang, though Crow steps in asking for a moment with his niece. From the look on Taiyang's face, he's not happy with Crow at all, most likely not approving the fact that Crow seems to be putting Ruby right back into the mess with revealing what's up. Crow finally gives some insight on what Ruby did back there, as well as some information on a very debated topic, referring to when Ozpin highlighted Ruby's silver eyes. It turns out that silver eyes are a rare trait that she gained from her mother, Summer Rose, and according to a legend that Ozpin told Crow, were the sign of a person destined to be a great warrior, an enemy to the Grim, who fear their power in a time way before huntsmen or kingdoms. I guess in comparison to the maidens, these silver-eyed folk used their power to aid people through combat, while maidens did so peacefully. Ruby then asked how does Crow know about Ozpin's query, and all this about the silver-eyed warriors. Her uncle revealing to her that his missions have been under Ozpin's word, but with the headmaster now missing in action, Crow must lead the charge now in his stead, leaving Ruby to get some rest, though he drops the word that the enemy's trail is now pointing towards Haven, the school that's helmed in Mistral. Ruby then is shown checking in on Yang, and boy is Yang not looking like her usual self. Lacking that usual oomph to what we attribute to her, she's pretty much broken after everything that went down, not just with her arm. On top of that, it turns out that the others in the team have been splintered off. Weiss got taken back to Atlas by her dad due to the fear and doubt that's spreading in the kingdoms, thanks to the last images seen from Beacon being Mercury's broadcasting footage of the corrupted Atlas forces attacking innocents with the Grim. So Weiss is heading back home, while Blake just plain left, with no reason left behind. And it's clear that this action hurts Yang a lot, flat out stating that she doesn't care why. We see later on that said Faunus is still in Vale, most likely looking to make up for Adam's actions that she's carrying on her own shoulders as her burden. Yang's drive is crushed, and looks like she's in need of some time to recover more than just from her wounds, telling Ruby to do whatever she wants. We notably then change seasons from fall to winter, as the sneaking Ruby is not only back on her feet, but geared up and ready for a journey, alongside Ren, Nora, and Jean, who are all still clearly wounded by the loss of Pyrrha. It's clear then what's next for this group. They're heading off to Haven to find answers and stop whatever is going on. As we see glimpses of many others post the battle dealing with their own issues, we're hearing a familiar voice speak to someone about that small, honest soul that Ozpin supported back in the show's very first opening moments. And while this person admits the power in that soul, where it can ignite hope in humanity from even the smallest source, it's soon clear that she's far from friendly, happily wishing and planning to snuff out that honest soul. She revels in humanity currently being broken apart, and doubt clouding in their minds, as we move towards a very twisted and eerie landscape, full of broken planes covered in shards, and the woman that's speaking now simply calling out to Ozpin that she'll send that honest soul to her demise, that this is only the beginning of the end, and she's looking forward to watching Ozpin burn. It's obvious now that this is the person that Ozpin was speaking to in that very opening prologue, now shown here as this very grim-like witch of a woman. She's voiced by a returning Jen Taylor, and her name is Salem, the true villain behind Cinder. This is the show's version of the Wicked Witch. The volume then truly ends after the credits, where we see Crow has Ozpin's cane, and he heads off, set to keep watch over the kids on their journey. And did he just turn into a crow? Does this confirm that his semblance could be turning into an animal, kind of like an animagus from the Harry Potter series? So, can't say enough already. What a rush that all was. And I'm happy to say that I have, again, no large notable negatives to mention for it too. So let's go straight into the final volume 3 positives of an episode, starting with how much I love all the emotion that was jam-packed into this epic season finale. We all knew it was going to be a painful and heartstring-tugging experience, but it was still such a gripping watch because of such varying emotional edges. Not just as well within terms of the incredibly tense Cinder vs. Pyrrha fight, but in many of the episode's slow moments too, leading into that fight as well as following it. In fact, I'm actually surprised we got a lot of the episode at a slower pace, but I can't say at all that I was dismayed at such a thing, especially given the high-octane first half. The sprinkles of more personal scenes, even in that first half, helped the pace of the episode nice enough so we weren't always at a level 10 throughout, and that second half, once the dust had settled, might actually be one of my favourite portions of an episode in the series, just seeing Ruby digest the aftermath of what happened, and getting this new information revealed to her, on top of seeing her trying to comfort a broken sister. And thankfully, the episode gave our heroes enough of a glimmer of hope at the end that they're willing to push on, and keep strong to give the viewers something positive to enjoy after everything that went down that was a bit of a heavy blow. Knowing that the next volume starts with their climb to regain that peace and joy, before hitting us with one more heavy blow with Salem's reveal. Next up, I cannot give enough praise to the directing and the animation in this episode. Kerry, the others on the directing team, and the entire animation team, you guys did wonders here, with some very effective camera tricks and some super smooth fights. The lovely battle effects used in the opening piece with Cinder and Ozpin, and the unleashing of Ruby's might were fantastic examples of just how far this show has come in comparison to its early days, topped off with some of the best work on facial animation so far, and a nice contrast of colour themes to suit the tones of the scenes. The darker, colourless theme to the battles and painful moments flowing excellently with the warmer and soothing tones for the patch scenes and the stuff at the end. Notable praise also has to go to the musical touches and, as usual, the music overall. They made the right call at various points to lessen the music or even flat out leave nothing but the sound effects and the voices to support the scene, such is the case for when Ruby made it to the top and saw what took place, and also afterwards when talking to Tai Yang and Crow. Beautiful touch there to just let the scenes speak for themselves. And if all that wasn't enough, we had two freaking awesome songs in the credits to sign us off. The first one being called Divide, which is a thrilling and powerful tune echoing a lot of Salem's monologue with her plans and her reasonings, with the other track being named Cold, which adds to the change of seasons from fall to winter, with a soft piano supported ballad which looks like it's about Jean's feelings as well towards Pyrrha, how thanks to her he's grown as a person, and now life seems cold without her, though thinking of her will push him forward. Plus it also works as an additional tribute to Monty along with the remembrance at the end. Can't deny I also love Salem's design. She looks indeed like a grim witch, a concept that does fit with her name, as for those who don't know, the name can be tied to a group of notable witch trials helmed in Salem, Massachusetts, as well as the name of that cat from the Sabrina Teenage Witch series. Her design is unique, it's unsettling, and it's a great reveal on top of it all. And the final positive note, I fully approved all the future arcs and storylines that's been set up, and the bucket load of mysteries that opened up for us to dive into as well. Where the hell is Ozpin? What truly is that power that Ruby has? What happened to Cinder? Who is Salem and why is she doing this? And what's next for the two wounded teams? All that and more will fuel many a debate until the next time that we return to the world of Remnant. And for the finale of the voice acting praise for this volume in terms of an episode, I want to give it to all of the cast for a standout job in this finale. But I gotta be more form, and I'm gonna give this praise to Miles Luna. Again, he brought it home with Jean's heartbreaking parting with Pyrrha, providing that right level of pleading sadness and pained braveness when called for. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. It was truly the end of the beginning. I think it's safe to say that we're finally at the true venture into the story of RWBY now. And for a send-off to this volume, I'm more than happy to say that the episode didn't fluster. Another strong contender for one of these show's brightest moments. And while I'm sad that we're now in hiatus mode, I say that with a large smile on my face from the enjoyment that I've had from this finale, thank you to the entire RWBY crew, big or small, for the absolutely beautiful work you have done in leaving us all with a golden end of a volume. But what is all your thoughts on this climactic episode? Let me know in the comments down below, and remember that I will be back soon with a full Volume 3 review. And don't think I'm going to be done after that. I've got Kaito chat discussion videos, more RWBY content down the line, as well as even more that's not RWBY related. But until then, have a great day or great night, and peace out.